Hey there, brothers and sisters. This is Tristan Gates from Team Adopt out here at beautiful Martin Park course where I'm going to be playing what I like to call an old man round, where I'm going to be doing holes 1 and 10 at the same time, and then holes 2 and 11 at the same time, etc., 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 all the way around, because the tee pads are going from 2 tee pads to 1 basket. So it makes it a little bit easier for me to walk around and only throw 1, and I only have to go around once around the course. So I'm going to film myself. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you throughout the round as I'm going as well. All right, so here we got hole 1. Hole 1 is down and to the right on the other side of this tennis court, and it's probably about 150 or so, and I'm going to be throwing a deflector forehand, hoping to just get it around the tree, around the fence line, and just to land it up underneath the basket. So I went a lot straighter than it should have. There's definitely a headwind that's coming along, so it definitely pushed it much more Anheuser than I wanted it to be. This course I installed this year here in the town of Martin in Georgia, because I live like less than a mile away. And I worked with the town of Martin to be able to put it in with some baskets being donated from the county from a course that they have over by their middle school called Rose Lane. It was definitely along with the help of the entire town that I was able to get this in, especially with several key members of the community that were able to come out and help me out with this. So we have hole 10. Starts from this orange pad and goes again up to that first basket there right in between the trees. All right, so for this shot, I got my proxy, which I've really been trying to just put on a flat line or even a slight hyzer to let it flip up and just keep riding all the way to the basket. I'm gonna try to make sure that I don't hit these kids while they're playing on the basketball court. That turned out pretty well. It was just a little short. That was a little low. Tap those out, get my pars. And we will move on to the next hole. All right, so this next hole, I'm gonna start on this pad here, and then the basket works all the way down there by the firehouse. This is actually built on county land with a fire station here, so that's the building that you're seeing in the background there. And the play here that I go for is a slight Anheuser around the fence down there, and then let it fade back out at the end towards the basket. For that, I use my reactor because it has that nice reliable fade at the end, but I can still get it to flip over if I send it hard enough. I'm really hoping not to throw it too hard, and I want to keep it below those trees there that have some of the branches that are going across it. So let's see how I can get it done. That worked out pretty well. So typically, this hole, which is the same hole, just it's hole 2 out of this second hole that I play with technically for the whole course. It's hole 2. The one that I had just thrown was hole 11. Hole 2, I'll take a proxy and try to put it down the left-hand side there and let it flip towards the basket, which pretty much puts me in circle 1 50% of the time, depending on how well I can flip the proxy. However, this time, because I'm still trying to figure out this deflector and making it get good use, especially in the wind, I'm gonna try using this on a forehand and seeing if I can put it up underneath the basket. That was a little unfortunate. It caught a branch and fell down, but it was definitely going. All right, I know for this one, I'm definitely outside of the circle. But I'm not so far outside of the circle that I want to jump putt. I still am very comfortable being in circle 2 and being able to just do a standing putt. So I'm gonna be using my Envy for that because that's what I've been putting with for the last several years. Ooh. It's just a little high, but it's still inside circle 1. I should be able to clean that up for the par. All right, so I'm gonna finish putting out with my Envy here so that I can get this off so I can get my Envy back for the next throw. It does not help that there's a truck in the background that's just screaming its tires while I'm trying to putt. So that's for bogey. And that's for birdie to get back to par golf. All right, so this hole is gonna be down this corridor here, and then there's a basket just on the left-hand side. It's kind of like going back towards hole 1 and 10, towards the basketball court, but we're gonna make sure that we don't hit these little girls that are playing on the basketball court. I'm gonna be using my resistor, my glow resistor, that should have a nice overstable finish, especially if I don't throw it with too much power. I can probably get it underneath the basket or a little past. With that nice skip. And I'm like next to the basket. Let's go. All right, so same idea for this one. I'm gonna be putting a deflector on forehand in between the 2 trees that are up there, and the basket is just behind that tree on the right that's up there. So I'm gonna be fading it in from the left-hand side, and historically this would be a pyro throw. Or even if I was going once around, I would probably use a resistor on the last hole, or on the last tee shot, and then a resistor on this tee shot. But because I don't have 2 resistors in my bag, I try to disc down a little bit at least so I can hopefully pop this shot just to the other side of that basket. Ooh, that was a little short. That's gonna be right in the brambles. I need to put a little bit more power on that. Should be just past, yeah, it's just past the basket. So that one I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get a birdie on. Unless someone revs their engine again. This one, I'm gonna have to go to a straddle because there's a bunch of like thorns and pines through here. And this is a practice round. And there's this one pine right here that's so now I got an audience, and this is gonna be great. I'm gonna miss this. I got a left to right wind. And it rolls away. Don't you love when that happens? I'm gonna use my glitch here as a mini because, you know, why not? Just want to make sure that I get it in. I'm not going past it. But I gotta make sure that I'm getting it up. Because if I don't get it up, it doesn't matter what I do with it. All right, so that was for bogey. Let me get this one in for the bird. Ooh, Ooh, and that hit off the top band. I'm very lucky that that didn't, they didn't do something else. That would have been very sad. Well, let's go to the next one. All right, so this is gonna be a little bit hard to see the T-pad, but the T-pad's right here behind me to my right-hand side. Your guys' left-hand side. And the basket is down there on a hill right by the fire department. So I'm gonna be using a Fission Crave, which is gonna be very straight, but hopefully it has just a soft fade at the end so that I can align the landing zone with the hill. So that way you don't get a very hard runoff from the hill, and then hopefully it'll stick roughly where it lands. So let's see how this is gonna go. The T-pad here that I put in also has a bunch of twigs and stuff on the ground that I'm not a huge fan of. Look at that. I'm just gonna hit a branch there at the end, knock it back. That was the perfect distance. All right, so again, this is typically one that I would throw up in between these two trees here with probably a proxy to kind of let it sit down, or maybe even an envy to kind of match the slope again. But this I'm gonna try something different. My neighbor Chris, shout out to Chris, he showed me a line around the left side of this left tree with a whole lot of overstableness, and we're gonna try to pull that off with, again, the new deflector. So we're gonna try that and see if I can get anywhere close to this basket, but I'm gonna end up doing a standstill because I don't wanna risk the chance that I'm gonna miss the actual tree, or that I'm gonna hit the tree. So we're just gonna try to get this around there. And it was doing well until it went too high and hit that branch. In these situations, I need to keep it down a little bit more, especially when I have low ceilings and stuff. Forehand is not my strong suit. I'm much more of a backhand person, but I've been trying more and more with the forehand. I started off forehand, and then it just didn't get any better, and my backhand started getting a lot better, so I started throwing backhand, and then I started getting real distance with backhand, so I've been more of a backhand thrower since that happened, and it's just a whole lot easier for me, but the forehand is a lot more accurate for me. I can definitely make sure that I'm not gonna hit certain trees, and you'll see that on a future hole where I'm gonna have to go through another tree line that's pretty similar to that last one, but a whole lot closer up and a whole lot tighter. So, because this is a little bit further out and I don't want to chance the ability for this to hit edge and roll down, I'm gonna try to land this one a little bit flatter while still trying to actually make a run for it. I'm probably gonna end up a little bit short because I don't like doing these long runs. We're gonna see how this goes a little bit. This is outside the circle, so I'm gonna try a little bit of a step putt. This is what you're gonna see what my step putt looks like, and it is not great. So, I mean, leave a comment in the below to make fun of my step putt. Well, it was right distance, a little low, but right distance. Just not on point, not in straight line. All right, so this throw is highly uphill. Probably about a good 3 feet uphill from where I'm standing at right now, just to even the base of the basket. I'm 5'9", and the bottom of the basket is roughly at my eye line. So uphill putts, I tend to use my proxy, but because that one's up there, waiting for the second throw, I'm gonna just try this with the Envy and hopefully be more comfortable with throwing this one. This will be for birdie. Yeah, I got scared of the basket, hitting it and rolling it downhill. This one, because I'm a little bit closer, it's gonna make it a little bit more comfortable for me, and also because I'm still going uphill, the proxy is gonna be a little bit nicer to flatten it out. I also have an issue with always going nose down when I'm putting. Not always, but a large majority of the time. I'll end up putting, even going uphill with a nose down angle. And obviously that'll drive it into the ground. But the problem is if I don't get it high enough, then it's gonna drive it into the ground way too soon. Something I need to work on going forward. So before I continue on, I wanna give you guys a word about our sponsor, specifically my sponsor, Adopt Disc Golf. So I don't know if you guys know this, but there are a ton of kids that are in the adoption agency, over 100,000 of them. Numbers are actually probably closer to 400,000. I'll put it on the screen when I find out. But there's a lot of these kids that really need our help. And sometimes they're only looking for you. They're looking for a permanent home. They're looking for someone, maybe they can even just talk to them, that can show them that they're loved. A lot of these kids just don't feel like they're loved, especially when they're getting into the adoption agency. And if you can, I would ask, just reach out to your local adoption agency and just see if you can just counsel, maybe one-on-one. I know that there's a program out there like Big Brother and I think it's Big Sister or something like that allows you to kind of like just take on a kid, to mentor them and to teach them a little bit more about you and about their life, and give them an outlet to be able to talk to. But also I wanted to say, if you have the opportunity, become an adoption a family. Bring on someone that you can mentor internal to your house. These kids really need us. And that's why I love Adopt Disc Golf so much, is because they'll actually go ahead and donate for every disc that is purchased from them. They will donate money to an adoption agency in North Carolina. And Tim and Jessica Harrison are fantastic people. They are adopting family. They're an adopting family of their own. They have 3 kids right now that are adopted from the system, as well as 2 of their own kids. And I got to play rounds with them. They're fantastic kids. And biggest deal is that they're no different than you or I. They are just people, and the people that need our love. So I strongly urge you, go to adoptdiscgolf.com or adoptdiscgolfcustom.com, and I'll leave a link in the description below. Just go there and show your support, purchase some discs. I know that there's some new Lazadals on there that he just told me that he got. There's a lot of stock discs on there if you just want to kind of show your support. And if there's a disc that you're looking for, even a manufacturer that you're looking for that they don't have, just talk to Tim, message him and be like, hey, I would love this, and I know that he can work with you, or that he knows people that will work with you. And then the second person that I want to shout out is I actually have my own shop on Shopify called shop.tristangates.me, and I'll put that link in the description below as well. I'm actually doing custom Christian stamps. 3 of the first stamps that I've gotten so far have been the Lion and the Lamb, which is produced by, drawn and artist by Justin Lago. I have this on proxies, I have it on photons, I have it on a bunch of discs that you can see all on the website. The second one was actually designed by a lady from my church, Kim, that you call the Saints one. I have this on a couple of Fission Octanes and Fission Craves. I even have still some misprints that you can get for a little bit cheaper as well. And then the most recent one, which we're running out of really quick, I think I actually only have 2 of these left in stock, is what I call the light disc. So Genesis 1:3. And these were only exclusively on MVP Eclipse plastic. That I'm trying to get a couple more of these once they come out with more like Eclipse hexes that I can put this on and whatnot, and then I'll order some more resistors and possibly even reactors as well. But I need your support to be able to continue this. I can't continue doing it all on my own, and so if you can go there and start putting out some love for that, I can be able to bring some more of these in, bring on some more artists, and even maybe expand to non-MVP lines like maybe Discraft, Dynamic Discs, you know, something else that maybe you guys like as well. So let's continue with the course. All right, so here's the tee pad for the back 9. This is hole 5 and 14. So the play is just right there. There's the basket right down there. Probably about 120 feet, not very far. But the problem is that right behind it on the right-hand side there is a gravel road, which we determine as OB. So any of the roads outside of the park, as well as the parking lots that are in the park, those are all considered OB. So I have aced this one with with an Envy before, a Electron Envy. But again, in the realm of just trying to test out this deflector a little bit more and get a little bit more used to it, I'm going to try to do this, and it's just a nice soft forehand Then I'm going to try to put to the left tree line behind the basket there and then just let it fade in a little bit. Typically this ends up being a little bit short because I don't want to go long, but I can get this typically circle 1 if I'm trying hard enough. Oh yeah, perfect, perfect. All right, so this is the same basket, except now we're gonna be going through this little tunnel here. There is a path on the right-hand side that you can go to if you want to danger over the road. And there's an interior path over here on the left that you can do if you want to stay safe. But I really like to play right up the middle because it's the best chance for an ace line. The other two, you're simply playing for birdie at best. So I'm gonna be using my reactor and hopefully just on flat, and then just allow it to kind of fade in at the end. Which that did not do at all what I wanted it to do. That's going deep. Ooh, that's gonna suck. In retrospect, I probably just should have used a 4-speed and not a, 5-speed. There goes the basket as we travel past it. And there's the disc, just barely in bounds. All right, so you can kind of see the basket up through those branches there. In this instance, again, I would probably throw the deflector, but because that was on my first throw, and I got to figure this stuff out, I'm just going to try a plasma entropy. Up to the left. No, there's a gap that's right here in between all these trees. And I know it's very, very tight, but I'm gonna try to see if I can stand still, throw it in through there. I know it's not gonna get to the basket, but just to hope that I can get it closer to the basket with a chance of a look. Yep, and that did not go well. Well, let's hope that I can get a look from there. Like I said, I'm not exactly comfortable in my forehands, so to throw the entropy on forehand, if I couldn't do it with a deflector, and I was pretty sure I wasn't gonna be able to do it with a deflector, then I was hoping the entropy I could at least fight it through a little bit. I do have a look on this left side over here. The other problem is that I'm very allergic to poison ivy, and there's poison ivy all over in this bad boy. So, because I'm gonna be straddling out, and I need it to go left to right, I'm gonna be using the proxy for this shorter putt, in hopes that it's just gonna keep the angle that I put it on. But there's very little chance that this is actually gonna go in because there's a bunch of little twigs in front of me. Yeah, I just didn't give it enough power. Or Anheuser. Had I done either of those, I could have probably made it. But again, I have a chance for a birdie from the deflector and then a bogey from the other one, so staying par again. All right, so this is for birdie from the deflector. I know it's hard to see it, but it is here, I promise. This is a little bit downhill, and this basket, because it's been downhill, has been known to kind of, if you hit high in it and it doesn't go straight down, it'll bounce back out. So this is one of those times where that nose down putt really helps me out. Boom. Just like that for the bird. And then unfortunately, just like that for the bogey. Womp womp. All right, so here we have hole 6. Actually, I think this one's 15. Hole 6 is up there. That'll be the next one. But this one is from this spot here, which is a little bit covered in leaves, all the way down there just to the right of the basketball courts. So this is the longest hole on this course, which I think sits at about 313 feet. I think it'll be somewhere on the screen, I'll put that. But the play that I have for this is trying to keep it low on enough hyzer that when I hyzer flip a Mayhem, a very, very beat-in Mayhem, trust me, I don't have that great of arm speed. When I try to hyzer flip the Mayhem, it will flip up to flat and slightly run right, just past this first tree and continuing past that line of trees up there to the left. and then it will be able to fade back in so that I can be probably about circle 2 once I get up there. This is not an easy hole, especially because those trees on the right there have a low ceiling on that. So you kind of still got to keep this nose down a little bit while not driving it into the ground in the grass up there. The second issue is the tee pad here, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but there is a slight slope here. So your run up is downwards. And so when you go to throw the downward throw, the nose actually ends up downwards. You actually have to be conscious about keeping the nose up and not too high up so that it hits the trees up there. I hope that I can show you a good throw on this. So that, if you saw it, did exactly what I wanted it to do. It flipped back up from a little bit of a hyzer, but I know that I still didn't have it high enough, obviously because it hit the ground only halfway there. You need to get that up a little bit higher so that you have the chance of even going further. But I'm definitely out there about halfway to the basket or so, and it's an easy up and down from there. All right, so this is true hole 6. The last one was 15, just again playing the back half and the front half all at the same time, so you only have to go around once. This tiny little gap here is probably about 6 feet wide, and trying to get through it with a backhand for me is not reliable. So what I try to do is a forehand with, I have my Sarah Hokum Crave here, that I'm gonna try to hopefully allow it to flip up a little bit, ride a little left, and then this one in particular is not as overstable as my Fission Crave, my Saints Crave, but hoping that it's gonna come back a little bit so that I can sit near the basket. This is probably gonna give me a long circle 2 putt again, if I can even get the forehand down right. So it's still fading, or still turning, and then it has that reliable fade at the end. And like I said, I'm sitting at about circle 2, which I'm okay with. Today's a beautiful day, a little windy, but beautiful. All right, so I'm probably about still about 100 feet away. This is just gonna be a plasma entropy to kind of just, I'm gonna give it a soft run, put it up high, and then let it hopefully fade to the basket, but I'm not expecting a whole lot. Yeah, I'm in about 20 feet or so. Wasn't exactly as far left as I wanted it to be, but it's all right. All right, so I have another long distance putt. It's definitely circle 2. I'm gonna do a step putt for this one just because it makes me feel like I can get it there a little bit further. Just a little short. If I'd used the Envy, that probably would have faded in a little bit more and had a better chance. I didn't even give that one a good shot. That's sad. Bogey. Par. I think it'll be on the screen, but I think I'm sitting at either even or 1 over right now. I can't remember all of the shots right now. All right, so this is hole 7. The next one obviously will be 16 for the back 9. 16 is the shortest hole on this course. Hole 7's somewhere in the middle. But this one comes from here, and it's more or less entirely straight uphill to the basket that's up there on the hill. Right behind that, literally probably about 20, 25 feet, is the baseball field, which for this course, we mark anything that's internal, that's for a different sport, OB. So the baseball field itself is OB, the basketball court that you saw earlier, as well as the tennis court that you saw earlier, that's all OB. Most of the time for me, the tennis court doesn't come into play as far as OB. The basketball court, especially on 1, sometimes comes in. 4 if I get a little bit, 3 if I get a little bit greedy on the throw. This one, I think I've hit it, when we started the course, I've gone OB a couple of times deep, but my new plan is that I'm gonna take my resistor and I'm gonna jam it into the hill right beneath the basket. And the hope there is that while it still has its high speed spin on it, it's gonna bounce forward and it's gonna put me just underneath the basket for a fairly easy uphill putt that's gonna be about maybe 10 feet away. Yeah, and as you can see, it landed, well, you might not be able to see it because it might be behind the tree, but it landed up there on the hill, almost at the pin, just about 10 feet to the left of it. All right, and so this is the shortest hole on the course. Again, right up the hill there, you can see the basket right there in front of me. For this one, I'm gonna be using a glitch, and I'm still trying to get used to the glitch, figuring out how it flies and whatnot, but what I've found while I've been practicing in my backyard is a power grip on the glitch, and then kind of just, I know it's cliche to say it, but kind of playing catch with the basket, trying to just get it up there. There is a wind coming from this direction, so it's gonna be a little bit of a tailwind for me, which, in case you guys aren't aware, tailwinds, while they might give the disc a little bit more distance, it will also cause it to fade a little bit more quickly, which I'm hoping is a good thing for this, because the glitch in my practices has always been a little bit more understable when I've been throwing it. So I'm gonna try to just do the exact same thing I did with the resistor, just put this up on there on the hill, just right about where the resistor is, but closer to the basket. Well, it definitely wasn't closer to the basket. It faded much more off to the right. But that's just because I don't know what I'm doing. All right, I'm gonna put in this one here first, real quickly, just because it's close enough to get that. I'm not gonna say it too soon, but hopefully get that birdie. I'm on a very steep incline here. That one I was kind of expecting. This next one I'm not 100% expecting, because it is way back over here by the edge of the baseball field. And typically if I was playing this in a tournament, if this was a tournament setting, I'd probably be doing a lot of things differently other than just, not recording. If this is a tournament, I would just put this underneath the basket and then take a par. Pars are good, but for this, because, I love you guys, I'm actually just gonna try to run it a little bit. This is into the sun. The sun's hurting my eyes. Oh, just off the basket. That's fine. I gave it a little bit of a run. I'm not too sad that I ended up with the same thing as if I just put it underneath the basket. The difficulty part is when it comes and flies way back down here and I end up back there down on the ground for another uphill putt in an attempt to save par, which is not what I want to do. But I'll take a one down for the holes and let's roll into hole 8. Okay, so hole 8 and subsequently hole 17 are more or less the holes that got me looking to this park in order to make it an actual disc golf course. There's a lot of space out here and it's great that we can do this, but there's one particular hole that I had in my mind, which was a more or less raised basket all the way down there at the end. You can see the little hill that it's sitting on. I really wanted to put a basket that was down there on that hill to make this a very difficult throw that you can potentially go OB. So as I said before, the baseball field here on the left is OB. It's a very, very tricky OB, especially because you're mostly throwing backhand on this. And then the road on the right-hand side that goes all the way up to the stop sign and then curves left behind the basket, this is very much so a dangerous throw. If you don't have something that's very straight, you can definitely spike hyzer it, but there is a electrical line, an electrical pole all the way down the right-hand side of this. So there's a good chance that you could also hit that electrical line, and it would suck if that happened. What I end up doing on this one is, for this one and then the next tee pad, which is a little bit closer, a little bit shorter up, is for this long one, I'll throw a volt, a cosmic neutron volt, and I'll throw it on a little bit of a hyzer and try to keep it out to the right a little bit so that when it comes back, it can fade in and hopefully hit the hill that's right up there at the end. And then for the shorter one, I do virtually the exact same throw because it's almost the same throw, except with a little bit slower speed of a disc with a resistor to make sure that I'm gonna still, again, keep it in bounds. I've thrown this hole enough times that I know that these are the two discs that I'm gonna throw no matter what. And it's just fun to make sure that I'm gonna be getting it in bounds. The road behind the basket is probably about 10 feet away, 10 to 15 feet away. So it is a very narrow basket orientation. 9 times out of 10, I hit this bench that's up there on the left-hand side, though, that if I pull off a little bit of the distance, it tends to hit that bench, which is exactly what I did. Pulled off a lot of that distance. Oh, but I put it in enough, out to the right enough and with enough hyzer that it stayed in, but that was not nearly far enough. And like I said, this throw might look identical to the last one because it's literally just 40 feet closer, 30 to 40 feet closer. So same play, I'm just gonna try to put a little bit more beef on this one so that I can get up to the basket. Oh yeah. Sit. Oh yeah. Bounced right before the hill. I'm up there looking for birdie. All right, so this one, because it is outside the circle again, I'm gonna be using the proxy, but this time I'm not gonna actually try to go for it. I'm just gonna try to put it in the basket because, like I said, that's about 15 feet behind the basket that the OB is. So I don't wanna hit the other side of this hill in a roll down and roll OB, which I've done several times. Just sit it right underneath. Ooh. I saw I hit the other side of the hill and kind of kick up. I bet you I'm probably still in bounds. All right, so I am in bounds, but further away than I really wanted to be. I am gonna run this one because I don't have any danger behind the basket. I know a lot of times if you're putting, ooh, and there's a headwind, this is gonna be fun. A lot of the times if you're putting, you wanna make sure that there's not gonna be a danger behind it. If you think that there's a possibility that you're not gonna hit the basket, or that if you do hit the basket and it rolls out, that you're gonna have a chance of going OB, you probably should just lay up. I know that that kind of sounds like, oh, you don't win with layups and whatnot, but guess what? You don't win with OBs either. So I'm gonna try to get this in because there's not really an OB on the deep side, and even if I hit the basket, I'm pretty sure that it's gonna stop. But I feel comfortable with this putt too. There we go. All right, I'm gonna reset, grab that one again because that's my go-to putting putter. I did try to switch to proxies for a little bit, but I don't know. I know Simon said that he doesn't feel like the NV fits into his bag. I think it fits into my bag perfectly. I love the edge on the bottom, and the depth of the flight plate or the rim is definitely what helps me love this disc more. Until I do that. And the roll away. This is why you don't talk while putting. Okay, so rules, because this technically is an OB line, you can get a meter off of it, but because it didn't go OB, you have to go at a perpendicular angle. And because I'm sitting right up against this fence here, I'm gonna end up taking my meter out this way. I understand that this is not a sanctioned event, obviously. This is a casual round that I'm playing, but just for a little bit of rules lessons here. Again, I'm gonna be doing the NV because I feel comfortable about it. And there's a little bit less wind on this, but I'm not even gonna blame the wind from the last one. I'm just gonna blame the fact that I was talking during the putt, and you shouldn't do that. Especially not when other people are putting. All right, so that was par. Let's move to the next one. All right, and here we are at hole 9 and hole 10, or excuse me, hole 9 and 18. I really do appreciate you guys watching this. If you made it all this way, I love you. Thank you so much for watching. Give me a support. I'm gonna try to do more of these videos, probably not weekly because I have a full-time job and I can't get out here all the time. And so I would like to do at least one video a month, if not more, especially with a couple of reels and stuff like that on Facebook. I'll leave my Facebook link in the description link below. I'd love to be able to do these a little bit more, and it shows, especially other sponsors, that if I can get more people watching and more people liking and commenting and all that sort of stuff, that I'm someone that they should definitely sponsor. And well, I want them to sponsor me. So again, subscribe, like, hit the bell, all that fun stuff. And while you're smashing that bell, I'm gonna smash these chains all the way down there. This basket is the most difficult out of all of them. So you see that there's the whole outfield for the baseball field out here that is all OB. And then right behind that hill, you can see the hill on the other side there, right behind the basket. That's the road, which is also OB. So this is very narrow strip of probably about 30 or so feet, maybe not even that much. maybe only like 20 that you need to land on. And one of the best throws that I've seen came from Chris Senador. Shout out to Chris Senador, great guy. He ends up forehanding it over towards where that red car is and then lands it on the hill over there. Again, I don't have that forehand or that accuracy that he does. So I'm gonna end up backhanding the same way that I did with the Volt over there. I'm gonna use the Volt to backhand it over here to the right-hand side and let it fade down. And my actual goal is not to try to get close to the basket because that would be dangerous. My goal is to actually let it hit the ground over there and then skip down to the fence and use the fence as a backstop for my OB so that hopefully I won't go OB. Now, many times I've thrown this into there and the wind just picks it up and goes OB. I've thrown it way too deep and it hits the road on the other side and whatnot. So we're just gonna watch how badly Tristan fails at this hole. Oh, and that's OB the whole way. Well, we'll go to the drop zone. All right, so this is the unofficial drop zone for hole 9, which is actually just hole 18. Hole 18, again, you can now see the strip of land that's here, and you don't have a whole lot of space, like I said, about 20, 30 feet across from OB to OB. For this one, because I'm only gonna have one disc for it, I'm gonna throw my normal one, my hole 18 throw, using the resistor. And again, I'm just gonna try to do the exact same thing. I'm gonna lay it up on the land there, and if it hits the land and stays, great. If it doesn't and it skips down, there's the fence there for the OB, which I'm totally okay with hitting that fence. I should be able to make that putt anyways. For the drop zone throw, I'm gonna be doing a tomahawk from a Fission Insanity that I got from Adopt Disc Golf. And with this wind, I'm not expecting a whole lot from it. So we'll see how this goes. All right, so first throw up is gonna be on hole 18 throw with a little bit of a headwind. Ooh. And as you saw there, it just went down, skipped down, hit the road, or hit the fence, but that was definitely the distance that I wanted for that. I would actually have preferred if it was up a little bit higher and a little bit deeper so that it hit chains. But, you know, I can't hope for everything. All right, and this is gonna be my tomahawk for this. I do try to get it out a little bit more, and I aim a little bit to the right of the basket because the tomahawk, when it comes out, it starts off like this, and then it flips, and then it dumps to the left. So if I have it dumping to the left before while it's still up in the air, and it dumps off to the left really quickly, it's gonna go OB. That doesn't sound great, right? So I'm gonna try to shoot it out rather than up, which gets me a little bit further out there, but I'm also gonna make sure that I'm aiming more to the right where that electrical pole is that's up there, just to the right of the basket. Ooh, and that's money. That's gonna roll a little bit, and I'm gonna be 3 feet closer than the other disc was. So that should be an easy birdie. Sorry, I said birdie on that one. I meant that that one's gonna be an easy pickup for bogey. The other one should be a generally easy birdie, but I've been known to miss those ones, so hopefully I won't miss this one. There's my sad OB shot. And here's my two throws, like inches from each other. All right. All right now, fellas. Yeah. All right, so this is about a 25-foot putt, a little bit uphill. So the bottom of the basket is at my eye line, so it's probably about close to about 5 feet. So it's gonna be up a little bit higher than that. I know I'm not typically comfortable with these putts, so there's a good chance that I'm gonna miss this one. Oh, and it stayed in. And the crowd goes wild. Go wild in the comments below. All right, let's see if I can make this one and clean that up so it's not far right chains. Oh no! And the roll away. Well, that bites. Because I was using a proxy. All right, let me clear the basket for this, and then again, because this is OB, I get 1 meter away from it. It's not sanctioned, but hey, you know what? If it's the rules and I use them to my advantage, I'm gonna do it. All right, so let's go uphill again. Man, this is into the sun. This is gonna be fantastic when I make this. Woo! All right, and that cleans it up. I'm pretty sure that I was over par on this one. I think one or two strokes over par. I didn't do great, but you know what? I had fun doing it. Thank you guys so much for being here with me today. And again, like, comment, subscribe so that you can see more of these videos. Take care, guys. God loves you, and I do too.